Welcome back to My Family's Got Guts. Ben Lyons here with semi-final action between the Gahres G-Dogs and the Kickin Johnsons. Only one of these two families will go on to the mighty Agro Bowl. The Kickin Johnsons trail because the Gahres G-Dogs have 320 points. Let's go to the highlights. We're going to kick things off with the air slalom. Check out Donald as he crashes backwards into the gate. Wham! He's going to feel that one for a year. Then it's Brian on the power lines. The green squad working as a team as Lindsay clears the gate. They're victorious. We take it to Formula Guts where the red team is off to a good start. In the pits, Donald changes for John Mark. That's where they got a lot of time. Red takes it to two-wheel motion. Very difficult right there. Now, it's time for volleyball. The red team dominating again. There you see a lot of high-flying aerial action. All four competitors flying through the air. Kathy sets, John spikes, and the red team celebrates. Is it the work of aliens or global warming? I have no idea. But one thing I do know for sure is that the mighty Agro Crag has evolved. Now it has dangerous jags and outcrops and perilous points of no return. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the bigger, stronger Agro Crag. The crag is so big and so bad, teams are going to need all four players to reach the top. Player number one goes over the Mad Mesas in the treacherous ice march to base camp, where player number two awaits. Player number two then takes on the Ice Serpent Switchbacks and the Skeleton Stalagmites in a bid to reach Avalanche Peak, where their actuator will now reveal a secret tunnel that will spiral them down the vortex to a new side of the crag. Then, player number three will attempt to navigate the Crag Caverns. Once out, they will cross the Glacial Gorge, which encircles the mighty monster, making their way back to the base and opening the ice portal behind which player number four awaits for their chance to conquer the vertical freeze and reach the Crystal Peak, the summit, and victory. Asha, I thought the crag was intimidating enough back in the prelims. Now here we are in the semifinals, and this thing is out of control.
Ben, you said the right word, because this bigger and meaner version of the crag is intimidating me. I think it's going to intimidate the teams, give them the heebie-jeebies. So that's why it's all down to strategy.
That's right, it's all about strategy. Our teams had to decide which player was going to conquer which leg of the crag. So who are they rolling with?
Well, let's go to the matchup to find out. For the Mad Mesas, we've got John versus Lindsay. On the switchbacks, it'll be Kathy versus Sharon. In the caverns, it's going to be Donald versus Brian. And in a race up the vertical freeze, we'll have John Mark versus Emily.
All right, Asha, it looks like the players are set. They've made their choices. Now they got to live with them. So how do you play the Agro Crag? What's the race? Break down the rules.
Well, since this is the semifinals, the maximum amount of head start time you can get is 10 seconds. So, since the red team is in the lead by 75 points, they've earned a 7.5-second head start. Each player must successfully complete their portion of the crag before the next player on their team can proceed. And as always, the first team to the summit wins, Ben.
It's the Gahres G-Dogs versus the Kickin Johnsons. Only one of these families will go on to the Agro Bowl. Who's it going to be? Asha, let's find out.
Red team, you've got a head start. You'll go on my whistle. Green team, you wait for the judges. Players on your marks. Get set.
Big John for the Gahres G-Dogs taking on the Mad Mason as he jumps from rock to rock across the beginning here. And now we have Lindsay for the Kickin Johnsons, who dominated the prelims and have been dominated here in the semis. There you see, heading up the Skeleton Stalagmites and the Switchbacks. It is Kathy for the Gahres G-Dogs. They are taking full advantage of this lead and heading through the sliding vortex, stuck to the other side of the crag. The red team off to a great start. Green team is struggling to find that final actuator to open the next side of the crag. We are taking it now to the Crag Caverns, where the red team is having an easy time getting through. Check out Big Donald making his way in that maze. Now he's caught up, doesn't know which way to go. Maybe this will get the Kickin Johnsons back in it. They're anxiously awaiting to get through the Crag Caverns, and now we're off. Both our teams are in the Crag Caverns. Which way is out? Victory is so close. Only one team will go on to the Agro Bowl. Semi-final crag is incredible, folks. The Agro Crag has evolved, and our players are having a difficult time getting out of the Crag Caverns. You don't know your left from your right, up is down, but it looks like the red team is getting across the Glacial Gorge, opening the switch. There it is, opening the ice portal, and both our players, John Mark and Emily, are going to race to the vertical freeze. Only one of these teams, folks, going on to the Agro Bowl. John Mark slips. He slips on the vertical freeze. Emily able to catch up for the Kickin Johnsons. They're taking on Gahres G-Dogs. John Mark using every bit of strength he's got to take it to the top of the Crystal Peak. Who's it gonna be? Green or red? Johnsons or Gahres G-Dogs? This is one of the closest races I have ever seen, folks. But there you have it. The Gahres G-Dogs have won. They are going on to the Agro Bowl. Congratulations to both our teams. The Green Squad had everything they could to get back in the action, but ultimately it was the Red Team, Gahres G-Dogs, who are victorious. Let's go to the replay. Here you see the Red Squad off to an early start. John is on those maces. He's able to kick things off to Kathy on the switchbacks. The Green Team having some difficulty there in Avalanche Peak, finding that last actuator. Both our teams, Donald and Brian, struggling in the Crag Caverns. Those things are difficult, folks. John Mark got the early start up the vertical freeze, and then Emily was right behind him. Ultimately, John Mark and the Gahres G-Dogs are victorious. Check him out as he makes his way towards the top of the Crystal Peak. He can take that final spot in the Agro Bowl. There he is, folks. Congratulations to the Gahres G-Dogs. The time has come for you to take your slide to victory. Congratulations, you guys are going on to our championship round. Here he is, joined by the entire family. They've already got one piece of the rock. Now it's time for their second piece of the Agro Crag.
Here it is, G-Dogs, your second piece of the Agro Crag, joining the first piece. If you win the final, you'll get the third and final piece, having a big, huge Agro Crag for yourselves.
Now, as you guys prepare to take on somebody in the Agro Bowl, what can we expect from you in the championship round?
Winning.
The third piece.
That's
right. He's looking for the third piece of the rock. So, Asha, tell us what this means for the rest of our tournament.
Well, let's take a look at our tournament bracket, because the G-Dogs, you are going on to the Agro Bowl Championship. You have locked up the last slots from the semi-finals, and you will now be facing off against Cyclone Jones and the Howlin' Howls. One more question for you guys. Do you have it?
No ifs, ands, or buts. My family's got guts. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Great. Now give me 5 alts.